eyes are on the national elections in India that will be held in the first half of this year. And the country's women voters will have a huge say in deciding the mandate. Among the new voters registered for this year's election, as many as 14.1 million are women. Now that figure also happens to be 15% more than the new men voters, which makes the choice for the political parties very clear. Among the benefits that are promised to the women voters, political parties are focusing on cash support for women. For instance, the Aam Aadmi Party and Congress have gone all out to woo the women voters, making the benefits to them part of the budgetary outlays in the states they govern for 2024-25. The Arvind Kejriwal-led AAP government announced Rs 1,000 per month for women above the age of 18 very recently. On the other hand, Congress leader and Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister Sukhwinder Singh Sukhu assured an annual financial assistance of Rs 15,000 to women. Now, this was part of the 10 guarantees the Congress promised during the assembly elections in late 2022. Women in Telangana were promised benefits worth up to 4,000 rupees each, or around $48, if Congress was voted to power in the state. Now, this was by way of social pension, savings on LPG cylinders and free travel on government buses. In West Bengal, on March 6th, the Trinamool Congress increased the remuneration of Asha and Anganwadi workers by Rs 750. That's about $9, and this is for per month. Earlier, Asha and Anganwadi workers used to get around $99 per month. So with this hike, it will be around $108. As for the Bharatiya Janata Party, which is part of the ruling government, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has announced reduction in prices of cooking gas cylinders. They are the most visible attempt to get more women voters who has been through women's reservation bill. The BJP also aims to conduct 11 massive outreach programs in 70 days that will be completed before March 15th. Additionally, the party is mapping out a strategy to make women's self-help groups aware of the schemes and programs being run by the government. Now, to get us more perspective on India's women voters, we are now being joined by senior journalist Aditi Phadnis. Ms. Phadnis, thank you so much for joining us here on WION. I want to ask you straight up, how crucial do you think women voters will become in this year's general election in India?
Well, as always, women voters are a very, very important constituency. In 2014, they came out in very large numbers to vote with both hands for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Many of them had differences at home. The common myth is that women vote the way men tell them to vote.
Right.
This is a myth. There are many families where the men vote differently and the women vote differently, and they put this on on test in 2014 and again in 2019, and I think the same thing is going to happen this time as well.
Ms. Phadnis, do you think India has able to bridge the gap between going from policy benefiters to policy makers?
Well, it's hard to say. At this point, a lot is being made of the 100 rupee cut, for instance, in cooking gas. Now, the cost of one cylinder of cooking gas has gone up enormously. And every woman I speak to says it is prohibitively expensive now. So, frankly, a 100 rupee cut is not going to make that much difference. But that apart, it's not just cost of the implements and the tools that women work with in the kitchen, which is important. It is also an overall sense of security and overall sense of being valued for their contribution to society, for their empowerment. And on these counts, I think they are probably quite enthused by, say, the Yogi Adityanath government in UP, by the Aam Aadmi Party government in Delhi, and so many other decisions that they feel have really empowered them. Any bus, any public transport, any bus you see in the morning will be packed with women and children,
Right.
women taking their children to school. So it's pretty heartening to see that, because travel for women in Delhi is free now.
Right. Ms. Fadnis, of course, India has a long way to go in terms of equality and all of that. But when it comes to politics, politics has been a sector where male have dominated for a really long time, not just in India, but rest of the globe. But do you think India can send out a message to the world on this International Women's Day when it comes to Indian leaders in politics?
Well, I mean, there have been many women leaders in politics, and they have performed exceedingly well. Uh, you asked a question about policy. Uh, Policy makers who are women are pretty shrewd and pretty intelligent in the way they make policy. We have the chief of SEBI, who is a woman. You have the former foreign minister, who was a woman. You have, I mean, there are so many examples of women politicians. I think the full flowering of women will probably happen after a few initial glitches in 2029, which is the likely date for that the reservation of seats for women will kick in. You will see, I think, a big push for women policymakers, and not just by the nominal decision of appointing women in high places, but actually seeing women policies which support women.
All right, Ms. Fadnis, thank you so much for speaking with us. It was a pleasure speaking to you. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.